Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. George Cohn from the World War II Museum in Louisville, Texas. Tonight I'd like to talk about a German paratrooper that I knew, a fellow by the name of Eduard Rabiga, otherwise known as Eddie. And this is what Eddie would have looked like in World War II. He was a Gefreiter, he was a mechanic, he was a paratrooper, he was in Italy, tropical region. So I met Eddie at the paratrooper reunion in 2001. We were walking down the street going to the cemetery from the hotel when the man in front of me just nosediving, just planted, just fell on his face. And he didn't even have to he was an old guy and he crashed. And he didn't have time to put his hands out and stop him. He landed right on his face. And one of the old Germans around there said, "I didn't hear anybody scream, 'Take cover.'" And everybody laughed at him, and he got up and I helped him and we got into conversation. And it turned out he had a crippled leg. He had been shot by an American in the thigh in Anzio, and it blew up the thigh bone, and he was a cripple ever since. And he was, I can't remember if he had his cane with him or not, but anyway, the sidewalk was uneven and his shoe caught that sidewalk and it tripped him up. And we became very good friends. At the graveyard that afternoon, there was a situation that ensued that I'm not going to talk about. But the next day, Eddie and I were looking for each other at breakfast. And we found each other and we talked and we swapped addresses and then we corresponded. And I went and visited him multiple times in Germany. He lived outside of Aachen. Very nice man, very nice wife. They were always extremely hospitable to me. He was crippled because of the American. He told me that he was from Aachen and he was in the Air Force as a Messerschmitt mechanic. He was stationed in Norway. He had a cush job. He was taking care of the aircraft that were attacking the convoys going from America to Murmansk, Russia. He said he said he had a good life in the military there, but the Americans bombed Aachen, and that was his town. And Eddie was upset about that, and he wanted Rache, revenge. And so he joined the paratroopers to be able to fight the Americans and avenge the bombing of his city. Well, he got crippled is what he got. His first deployment was in Yugoslavia, fighting the partisans, oder die Partisanen kämpfen. And he wouldn't talk about that at all. Eddie just said, "Let's just lassen wir das, just leave it alone, I don't want to talk about it." So he was later in Italy, and Eddie told me he always carried a chess set with him. And Mitch, if you pull up the picture online, you'll see in his jump smock, he's got a big bulge right here, and he told me, "That's my chess set." He always carried a chess set with him. So he was deployed around Anzio, and he told me that he and some guys were crossing a creek. There were bushes, he was the third guy to jump across the creek. And you know, you always heard that story as a little kid, never be the third guy to get the light from the cigarette, because the sniper will get you. Well, he said he was the third guy coming across the creek, and he said he got shot right in the thigh. And he said that was it. He couldn't go anywhere. He was down. And he said the American was benevolent. He allowed my friend to come out and get me. He said that American could have killed me where I lay. I couldn't get away. And he said when my friend came out to get me and drug me away, he said that American could have killed both of us. But he said he let us go. And Eddie had a picture of the friend that pulled him out of harm's way there at Anzio at his house. It was a good-looking guy in uniform. I can't remember his name, but Eddie told me that the guy didn't like to go out in person because at the end of the war he got his jaw blown off and he was terribly disfigured. And Eddie said he had been a very handsome man and he didn't like to go out in person anymore, you know, the tragedy of war.